Let's get back to work. Get back to work. Passed out for about 6 hours. Went to bed around 11 and woke up about 6 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock, sorry, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like the assholes at the military academies. Yeah, assholes. Yeah, fucking assholes. You know. They had the guy who does the symphony orchestra of his Tesla truck in El Paso. Right? If you want to go to San Antonio, why are you going to San Antonio? Well, it plans out your whole thing, tells you how long you have to charge at each spot to get from El Paso to San Antonio with this Tesla truck. Well, why are you going to? Do they need you in San Antonio? Are you gonna make sure that the water's clean because people aren't aggressively doing stuff? Or are you going to make sure that the food is healthy and not being held for extortion? Why are you driving to San Antonio? Do they need you in San Antonio? They need me in San Antonio. I don't want to drive there. I've got this. Goes to the satellite, boom. There he is. It's the Messiah. He's in New Mexico. He's not driving to San Antonio, New Mexico, or Texas. Because I'm not needed there, right? They have people that can make sure that the water's clean. They can have people that make sure that the food isn't being held for extortion. I don't need to be the governor and from Monterrey to Los Angeles, and then have Zorro, lock up the sergeant and the corporal in a room. And then you're like, he needs better social skills. I mean, he's fighting around and stuff. It's like, why didn't he run over by the door, open the door? Okay. While he's fighting the guy, just go by, click the lock thing real quick. When he handed the guy over, why didn't he just unlock it? And then take off and say, bye, Corporal Reyes, bye, Sergeant Garcia, But he's got to put on a show. He's got to do it all by himself. And you think Sergeant Garcia and Corporal Reyes, and I watched the last episode of Zorro before the 4 movie ones, the El Bandito, Adios El Cuchillo, Postponed Wedding, and Old Acquaintance, right? And where he's saving Bernardo from being framed. His name is Henry Wallace. I said, "You're the man I've been looking for." So I sat and watched that. I also sat and watched Elvis's granddaughter promote her mom's book through Oprah's book club to sell that book so they can both be generationally wealthy. And then I had to explain to Yolanda Gilliard when she didn't want to come to North Carolina with me and get married that, my grandmother's people had to leave Germany because of a man named Adolf Hitler that was taking people with affiliations to Jewish people that were the wealthiest people with generational wealth in Europe, but they were taking them and liquidating their assets because they didn't have any legal representation because they weren't landed aristocracy, and they could put them into concentration camps, liquidate their assets, and murder them because of things that people wrote down and verified on a piece of paper they consider a law. And Justice Bayer or whatever his name was, what he's doing is very important according to him. Why do they need you in San Antonio again? Okay, so we get this, and then I was watching Kathy Bates as a liar, right? And she's this Miss Kingston pretending to be a Matlock lady who hasn't worked in law for 30 years, who understands the legal system because she wants to incarcerate people at a big-time law firm, okay, for hiding paperwork that would have gotten opioids banned sooner, and she thinks that would have saved her daughter who died from opioid addiction. And it's like, so because there's a legal drug dealer that gives people legal drugs. Hey, Matthew Perry was putting this shit in his body whether people, he's going to get it by hook or by crook, right? Just like Elvis. He's going to get his drugs. If you don't get my drugs from me, I'll fire you and get somebody else that will. That's what Matthew Perry told the guy. And now they're going to try to incarcerate the people that he got the drugs from and not put the responsibility on Matthew Perry, who was willingly putting the drugs in his body to kill himself. Okay? So you're sitting there watching this, and on this movie, this woman's a total bitch, the lawyer, the prosecutor or whatever, the one getting the $20 million for the convicted, exonerated rapist, right? And you're looking at the lawyers and they're sitting there going, well, this happened. It's like, why doesn't the other guy just get up and say, okay, if someone is a carjacker, right, and he's in jail, does that mean all carjacking stop? Okay, you can't do that. It's, I guess you can't do that in court. It's inadmissible. But you have to, I don't know how to explain it, but you just sit there and say, no, look, there's a man named Wayne Williams. Okay, he was from Atlanta. And for years, black people and artists were talking about these horrible things with these Atlanta killings. We got to catch the person who's doing these Atlanta killings, right? So finally they did. He was like a church guy, big brother type, foster care type big brother person, and they would, oh, do you know what happened to Billy? Oh, no, last I saw Billy, he was safe, and you see what I'm saying? So finally the cops got suspicious and followed him, because he was addicted to doing it. He kept doing it, right? Like Lisa Marie Presley and her son, they're addicted to doing something. Like Ian, I don't know what Ian's last name is, King, Regina King's son, Marvin Gaye's wrong about the interpretation of Jesus Christ. He's not God. He didn't invent the rain. He didn't make the snow fall. Okay. Because if Jesus makes it rain, all the people in Florida right now are pissed, right? Jesus, you're a fucking asshole. I told you forgive, just, trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace, and not engage in economic conditions that cause violent reactions from nature, right? So Jesus isn't God, but he's the Lord that gives us faith in God, that observes and follows natural laws to have lives where, you can have a farm without people the Cossacks coming and raiding your farm. Okay. And they use language and they use linguistics and stuff. And so I was watching that thing with Kathy Bates last night, and you're sitting there watching it. And the one lady, she doesn't want to, you're like, go and sin no more. She doesn't want, the one lady's a middle-class suburbia, whatever, and she won't go testify to exonerate this man because she doesn't want her children and her husband to find out that she was a prostitute when she was younger. It's like, don't you think that might eventually come out anyway, since we're here right now? You know what I'm saying? Okay. And you don't think that bitchy black lady who wants to make a commission off of $20 billion isn't going to make sure that she destroys you because you wouldn't testify to get her the $20 million? That's what I would have told her if I was Kathy Bates. Okay. And your family has to love you for who you are, and eventually it's going to come out. And if people don't love you for who you are, then they're just loving a masquerade that doesn't exist, right? Are we really happy here with this lonely game we play, searching for words to say? But none of you, okay, are standing up for the Lord's Prayer. The only person that you guys are aware of that is standing up for the Lord's Prayer is being abused by hospital administrators and assholes in this valley of the epicenter of, we'll threaten to blow you up with nuclear weapons if we can't fuck you in the head with money and technology. Right. And you have all these foundations, the Chan Zuckerberg Foundation. How are you any different than the last assholes whose money was supposed to save us all from not living the Lord's Prayer? And the one kid with the neurosurgeon, it's like, you guys are, you're construction monkeys for a corporation. A neurosurgeon? Would you be a heroic neurosurgeon if the necessity for neurosurgery radically decreased because the environment was healthier because we were living the Lord's Prayer? Okay. Now, Tom talking to me about a neurosurgeon is like, if I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, I would have been a neurosurgeon. Okay. But instead, I was in a grocery store being tortured by administrators that give us neurosurgeons that are heroic and first responders and heroes and all that shit. And you're like, you're not a fucking hero. You're a flying monkey for the rich of the West. And, you get that thing I got this morning when I woke up, because, you guys all want to elect a dictator to tell you what to do with money, then instead elect to live the Lord's Prayer. So you're all like those three monkeys: hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Okay. But do evil. But as long as no one's hearing it, seeing it, or speaking it, it's not happening, right? He made the rain. He made the snow fall. He said, don't go and talk about my father. God is my friend, right? If you believe in mythology and you accept mythology as faith, you're going to die a drug addict, questioning everything you ever heard about or heard from God or talked to God about. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, right? Being Unfaithful is very unintelligent. Okay. Being faithful is very intelligent, right? Understand, observe natural laws, understand the essence of natural laws, understand what's required to continue our lives through observing natural laws. Why are you driving to San Antonio? Do you need to go to San Antonio? Right now, I picked up a phone, it bounced off one of your satellites, and it can go to San Antonio because that's, you got the Lackland Air Force Base there, you got the other Air Force Base there, you got lots of people that train people to fly in planes and murder people over the corporations that threatens to blow us all up with nuclear weapons if we don't accept their tyranny through, going from Monterey to Los Angeles, right? Out of the night when the full moon is bright, rides a horseman known as Zorro. Zorro, Zorro, the fox of cunning and free. Zorro, Zorro, who makes the sign of the Z. Then I thought about Don McClane this morning. They said about American Pie. He said, that song means I don't have to work for the rest of my life. Other people clean his toilet. Other people do his dishes. He can pay poor Mexicans that migrate here to do his dishes, clean his toilet, like Caitlyn Jenner, making money off of the former Bruce Jenner, learning from the people she watched on TV, and the ghost of her sister's father. You a lawyer? You making laws? Okay. You sure about that? Gravity and photosynthesis? I understand why I'm the spirit of Adam Moses, David Jesus John, and that I'm faithful. And when people, connect to me, a lot of them will commit suicide if they're men, because everything they ever believed about their gods in their heads was a complete lie. And they're not capable of doing anything about it because no one's talking to them because they weren't born eternally faithful like me. Do you understand how it works? Ark of Covenant. Ain't wearing no mask. Adios, El Cuchillo. Okay, guys, I love you, man. Peace out.